Welcome back, you. I'm glad you're here because today we're going to make something out of this. A while ago, I issued a challenge, a one-day build. What can I make in one day? But it can only be done if it's a good type of steel. So do you know how to test if this is good steel or not? We've got two options. Number one, we could draw it out into something and then quench it and then break it. And if it breaks, well then it probably means that it's a good kind of steel, or at least that it has a high type of carbon content. Because when you quench a high carbon content type of steel, then what happens is it becomes very hard. And therefore, unless you temper it, it becomes very brittle. Or we could do what's called the old spark test. I'm gonna start with that. So, what is the spark test? You take your steel and you hit it on the grinder for a period of time, and then you watch the sparks. Now, if it's a low carbon steel, you're probably not gonna see a lot of spark action. But if it's a high carbon steel, then what you'll see in the sparks is kind of like fireworks, where it will shoot off and then kind of like expand a lot, and there will be a lot of them. So let's hit it on the grinder and see what it does, and then we can decide whether or not this is good for making into a blade or not. Good test. So the sparks were exactly what I had described, nice and flashy, and they spread out a bunch, and there was a bunch of them. So, gotta remember to look at the camera and not at me. So, in my opinion, this is gonna be, I did it again. In my opinion, this is a very good type of steel to use. The only thing that I have in my mind that would be a bit of a cause of concern is the threads. The reason being, I don't want to fold those into a cold shut. My idea is, let's do a one-day build on a little bit of everything, starting with make it into a K-bar with a guard and a couple spacers and a leather wrap handle. But there's one caveat. I have children. I have two small children. One of them is 3 and one of them is 5 months. I'm in and out a lot. So instead of literally one day, here's my idea that we change it to a 10-hour program. Challenge. 10-hour challenge to turn this into a fully functional leather stacked handle K-bar. And go. Wait, I gotta cut that off first. My name is Trevor Bear, and I'm a Forge and Fire champion. Let's turn this into a K-bar. So I don't know the exact alloy, and I don't know exactly what I'm working with for specs and details and whatnot. So I decided let's just keep it nice and hot to reduce the risk of micro-fracturing it as we're working. That was a stupid transition because temperature difference. Whatever. Now, I'm not going absolutely wild with trying to be efficient and fast, but a little bit. So while things are cooling, let's go ahead and work on the handle. So now while those are all cut up and ready to turn into a handle, now the blade is up to temperature, so there's no waste of time. Let's start flattening it out, drawing it out, getting it to 2 inches wide and at least 8 inches long for the blade, plus the tang, and then a little bit of a ricasso. That'll make a really dramatic looking K-bar. And I'm not trying to make something basic. All right, check it out. we very easily have the length that we need, way over, which is good, because I'm gonna draw that out to the tip, and then it'll give me plenty of room to forge in the tang. And you'll notice down the whole length, it is very good. It's at least 2 inches, which is what I want because I like a more dramatic build. And I'm leaving it kind of thick because the goal is to give it a thick spine and a nice deep hollow grind. So it'll be strong, but it'll be sharp. Doing good so far, let's keep going. Okay, so I got it spread out here, and the reason is because now that I'm working on the bevels, I want to now establish that clip point a little bit clearer and move on to the lower part of the blade. So let's do that clip point. We got those bevels forged in, so let's work on that little ricasso and then draw out the tang. Now, hey, do you remember that threaded part of the bolt? Well, let's turn that into something. We're gonna turn that into the guard. Smash it down, draw it out, hot cut it, and then grind off any of those cold shuts. Shape it out, punch a hole in it, fit it to our knife. Okay, we've got the blade roughed out, needs some work. The guard roughed out with 123. I'm actually gonna drill a hole through each one, prep it, heat up the tang, and burn these on. All right, it's looking good. So now we're gonna clean up the profile a little bit so that we can then focus on some of the details and add some embellishments to make it more than just a standard K-bar, to give it a little bit of pop. Okay, we're doing some thermal cycling. Now I got it cleaned up. And we got the blade cooling off a little bit for the next thermal cycle. So let's work on some of the other details, like I want to turn this into the pommel without overweighting it. All right, check out what we got so far. Now, we got a nice deep fuller on each side. It's not all the way through, but it's nice and deep so we can lighten that blade quite a bit. The K-bar bros are probably gonna come for me because this is not what we would consider traditional. Check it out so far. We got the guard mostly slotted on, and I've got some jimping. Just for fun, a little bit of grip for your thumb, nice deep fuller, nice deep hollow grind the whole way down, and 2 ferro rod strike points. Start a fire. Let's get on to the heat treat. All that so far at the 3-hour mark. We're doing pretty good. So we have it quenched, we have it ground, mostly, a little bit of cleanup, working some of those lines a little bit, and we gotta temper it. So, temper it in the oven, assemble this handle. At this point we are at 4 hours and 30 minutes. Now you wanna you want to do it for 425 for most steels thereabouts. But my oven runs a little hot, so I set it to 410. But my oven runs a little hot, so New me. So here's the deal. It got way too hot in the temper. So what happened? Well, it's a new oven and we're still figuring it out. It runs hot, like I mentioned, except apparently it runs way too hot because it's supposed to be a deep straw, which is about 425 degrees. Instead, probably because it was lower on the rack and that oven runs hot, it got above 500 to be purple and blue. But I'm a Forged in Fire champion. I know how to fix it, and we're gonna fix it. So how do we do that? We gotta do the whole thing again. So let's thermal cycle it 3 more times, and let's quench it again, and let's temper it, but this time let's do it right. Here we go. Step 1, light forward. Okay, so I haven't been really going at a breakneck pace because it's not Forged in Fire, and I was just about thinking that we got 10 hours is way too much, which is a good thing. But then we had a bit of a setback, which happens. So I'm gonna up the ante. I'm gonna make the most out of the time that I have. So while the blade cools in between thermal cycles, what are we gonna do? Because I have the guard is finished, ready to fit. The pommel, which is cool, I got it set like that, is ready to go. But what are we gonna do in the meantime? The only thing that needs to be done now is this finishing shaping the handle, but I can't do that until the blade is done. So let's make a fake tang so that I can shape the handle. Requenched, cleaned up a little bit. Let's go back to the oven, try again. This time set it to 400, put it on the top rack and see if we can avoid ruining the temper. All right, 559.55, and we have it tempered nice, ready to put it all together. Let's get it going. So all in all, even with the tempering setback, I finished it in 6.5 hours. I'm probably gonna finish it a lot earlier if we didn't have the setback. So next time, we'll do a more complicated build and less time on the clock. But here's the finished product. Let's do some cut tests to see how it does. There you have it, everybody. That's the finished K-bar. Leather stack, nice jimping, arrow strike points, nice deep hollow grind, and I particularly like having the cymbal still intact. It's pretty cool, it's pretty fun. I hope you guys liked it. Let me know what you think, and subscribe. We're gonna be doing more one-day builds just like this, but I don't have any ideas right now, so let me know what you think we should do next time.